Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, let's jump straight into this one, because today we're unpacking a story that completely blurs the line between a spooky local rumor and documented, unexplainable reality. We're going to map out the chilling events of what locals call the Whispering House. Now, this is a decaying, abandoned building sitting right at the edge of an isolated village. And, this wasn't just some rundown place that needed a fresh coat of paint. It was a structure that the entire community actively and intentionally avoided at all costs. And by breaking down the source material today, we're going to see exactly why they were so terrified.
We really have to start with this exact question to set the tone for the absolute nightmare that follows. Ask yourself, have you ever been completely alone, maybe reading a book or working late, and you could swear you heard a voice, like a faint whisper that actually called your name? That deeply unsettling feeling is the entire foundation of our story today. Local rumors insisted that the Whispering House literally echoed with strange disembodied voices every single night. Now, most people logically rationalize this, right? They said it's just the wind or the old foundation settling. It was just a silly rumor. Well, until one person decided to actually test the theory.
Section 1. The Legend and the Skeptic. Let's look at how this established local legend clashes directly with the worldview of our protagonist. His name is Ali, a very brave, fiercely rational 22-year-old. This is really the core conflict of the whole incident. On one side, you have the collective belief of the village, which is absolute certainty that strange, malicious voices came from inside that house. And on the other side, you have Ali's perspective, this rock-solid belief that ghosts absolutely do not exist, period. So while his friends were practically begging him to stay away, Ali just laughed it off. Running on pure skepticism, he grabbed his camera, packed a flashlight, and walked right out into the cold evening to prove everyone wrong.
So let's look at what Ali actually encounters when he pushes open that creaking wooden gate. It was like stepping into an environment completely frozen in time. The air temperature immediately plummeted. There was a thick layer of dust coating absolutely everything. Broken furniture just scattered across the floorboards, giant spider webs blocking the pathways, and most importantly, complete and utter silence. There was no wind, there was no settling foundation, just this heavy, suffocating quiet that perfectly set the stage for what was about to happen next.
Section 2. The Skeptic's Intrusion. What you really need to take away from this phase is how incredibly fast the environment shifts to challenge Ali's confidence. According to the footage we have, Ali starts recording the dark, empty rooms. He actually turns to his camera, smiles this big, confident smile, and officially declares, "Nothing is here." He's totally dismissing any threat. But literally, seconds after he smiles and says that, the silence breaks. The house responds. He hears a distinct whisper, clearly saying his own name, Ali. He whips around, fully expecting to catch one of his friends playing a prank on him, but there's nobody there. So he tries to rationalize it. It's just the wind, right?
But then, just a few moments later, the entity escalates. A second whisper echoes out, and this time it's clearly coming from the pitch-black staircase, giving him this exact, terrifying command. Ali, don't look upstairs. Now, the source material notes a real shift in Ali's physical state right here. His heart starts pounding. That psychological armor of his skepticism is officially starting to crack. And against all of his better judgment, driven by this crazy mix of fear and an intense need to debunk what he's hearing, he actually starts slowly climbing those stairs.
Section 3. Escalation of the haunting.
Okay, now we're transitioning from just spooky, disembodied sounds to a very real, terrifying physical presence. The house is no longer just whispering. Notice the methodical escalation here. It's like a countdown. Step 1. As he climbs, every single step makes an unnaturally loud creak, completely isolating him from the safety of the ground floor. Step 2. Suddenly, a door slams shut completely on its own. Ali rushes over, but it is locked tight. Step 3. He starts hearing footsteps behind him. And we're not talking light taps. These are slow, heavy, deliberate footsteps. He turns around, sees nothing. But then we hit step 4. He glances into this old, dusty mirror on the wall, and staring back at him is the reflection of a tall shadow standing directly behind him.
The sheer terror of that visual totally breaks him. Ali screams, spins around to confront whoever or whatever is towering over him, but the hallway is completely empty. The shadow is just gone. And this is a brilliant, horrible tactic by whatever force is in that house. It completely shatters his reality. It proves the entity is deliberately toying with him, manipulating his senses, and feeding off that sudden, massive spike in his panic.
Section 4. The Climax and Escape.
The crazy thing is, the haunting doesn't even pause to let him catch his breath. It violently accelerates to just completely overwhelm him. We're entering the climax now, and we can actually map out his terrifying panic minute by minute. Right at midnight, his primary light source, his flashlight, begins to flicker and completely die. At 12:01, the auditory assault maximizes. Every single door in the upstairs hallway bangs shut at the exact same time. At 12:02, as Allie is desperately trying to run back downstairs, the architecture of the house itself seems to warp. The staircase actually stretches, appearing infinitely longer than before, literally trapping him. And finally, at 12:05, his camera completely cuts out, leaving him in total darkness.
Placed right in the absolute middle of this sensory chaos, the pitch black, the slamming doors, the warped reality, the whisper comes back one last time. This final threatening warning echoes straight down the dark hallway. Leave before it's too late. It's no longer just saying his name. It's giving him a very real ultimatum. And then, the ultimate physical violation happens. That massive sensory overload suddenly drops into dead, complete silence. Out of nowhere, a freezing cold hand firmly grabs his shoulder. Allie slowly looks back, absolutely terrified of what he might see, but nobody's there. Instead, the empty hallway is filled by this disembodied, incredibly deep laugh that just echoes through the entire house, literally mocking his terror. Honestly, it's the final push he needs. It breaks his paralysis and sends him sprinting for his life. He somehow manages to blindly navigate the dark and escapes the house just before sunrise, vowing to himself that he is never, ever going back. So he survived. But the story has one final horrible twist waiting for him back home.
Section 5. The terrifying aftermath.
Back in the safety of his own home, once his adrenaline finally starts to settle down, the analytical side of Ali tries to take over again. He decides to check his broken camera to see what, if anything, actually got captured during the chaos upstairs. He scrubs through the final moments of footage right before the device failed. And what he finds is something that even professional paranormal experts can't rationally explain.
Now, I really want you to let this sink in. The camera recorded an angle that Ali couldn't see himself. The footage clearly, undeniably showed that directly behind Ali stood a pale woman with pitch black eyes. And she was smiling. Directly at the camera lens. She knew she was being filmed. This absolutely terrifying revelation is the smoking gun here. It proves, without a doubt, that the haunting wasn't some stress-induced hallucination, it wasn't the wind, and it certainly wasn't a prank. This entity was physically manifesting and standing inches behind him the entire time he thought he was alone in that hallway.
And because of Allie's unexplainable footage, the village legend completely evolved. It shifted from just a vague rumor about strange voices into a very strict, terrifying set of rules. Step 1. Enter the house after midnight. Step 2. Wait until you hear your own name whispered from the shadows. Step 3. If you dare to answer that whisper, officially acknowledging the entity's presence. Step 4. You may never come back. The community didn't just avoid the house anymore. They treated it like an active, highly dangerous threat.
And that brings us to the end of our analysis of the Whispering House. It is honestly a masterclass in how quickly deep-rooted skepticism can be completely dismantled by the unexplainable. I want to leave you with this chilling thought today. Based on the terrifying, documented evidence from Allie's camera, if you ever found yourself standing alone in the dark and the shadows suddenly called out your name, what would you do? Would you answer? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.